Greetings, my name is Chamomile, and this is an exploration of the entire galaxy sector by sector. Today, we're talking about the Hunnovers Sector. There's some of the usual Outer Rim weirdness with sourcing here. Legends claim there's a planet out here called Tozir, a world with Jawas and Tusken Raiders. Pretty sure these guys are thinking of Tatooine. There is allegedly a planet called Felin, whose native species, the Felinians, had primitive technology, but a smuggler was allegedly running Imperial blasters to them during the Galactic Civil War. Pretty sure those guys are thinking of the Cathar, and this was probably a resistance cell, not some cavemen. It's not illegal to sell technology to underdeveloped worlds. That's like the first thing that happens to most underdeveloped worlds. You trade them 2 space heaters and a comlink for the mineral rights to half a continent. One of the more plausible rumors out of this sector is about a planet called Stellan, an isolationist non-republic planet ruled by a theocracy who will exile anyone deemed too aggressive into space. So, naturally, slavers will hang out nearby waiting for freshly stateless sentients to be launched into orbit and immediately abduct them. Another rumor, possibly one that inspired the Felinian one, is of Nishir, a primitive planet that allegedly was first discovered in the Imperial era. The native Nish species had mostly Iron Age tech, with one part of the world starting to industrialize when the Empire showed up and started strip mining the planet. The Rebel Alliance made some friends there to help resist the Imperial occupation. This kind of thing happened now and then during the Galactic Civil War. I can't verify it, but it doesn't sound insane to me. But people who know their Clone Wars history are waiting for me to get through all the bullshit and get to Siskeen. Well, here we are. The Hunnovers Sector cast a shadow over the entire 14th Red Tails Command during the Clone Wars. Here in the trailing region of the Outer Rim, the Separatists were weak compared to their more consolidated territories spinwards near Megiddo and Raxus, but they had multiple strongholds in the Hunnovers Sector, which they could use to try and solidify their position, most famously Siskeen. These Separatist strongholds had to act aggressively in order to punch through Republic space, both trailing towards the other Separatist worlds like Solus and Mustafar, and spinwards through the Mid-Rim to link up with their capital region. The need to overrun nearby sectors quickly led to a manic aggression by the CIS in this theater, all emanating out from the Hunnovers Sector. But because it's the Outer Rim, and so of course sources are fucked, the planet Telanroeg, primary stronghold of the CIS in the Hunnovers Sector, might have actually been located in Gallus Sector alongside Ryloth. That would mean that the Twi'lek allowed a major corporate stronghold to be set up in their sector, but they've done that before on Abdalis. In fact, more sources put Telanroeg in Gallus Sector than in Hunnovers. I'm putting Telanroeg in Hunnovers Sector purely because it played a similar role in the Clone Wars to Siskeen, so it's easier to talk about both of them together. Siskeen is definitely in Hunnovers Sector, and is the more important of the two. The Grand Army of the Republic referred to this whole theater of the war as the Siskeen Theater. Siskeen system contained not only Siskeen itself, but also Ulanet. Ulanet? However you pronounce that. A planet with the largest droid factories left in the galaxy after the destruction of the factories on Geonosis, and Kaer, a gas giant with one of those Tibanna gas mining cities. The Seps used it as another droid factory, and after the war, the Black Sun took over. There's not a whole lot of word on what happened to these places after the Clone Wars, but given the destruction visited upon the Farah sector, I think it's safe to say there's not a lot left here, especially since Hunnovers was the sector from which droid armies poured out to terrorize this entire region of the galaxy. The droids that conquered Ryloth and Rhodia, invaded Christophsis, pummeled Rishi and Camino, they were all built here. The newly reorganized Empire loved to use the core world's thirst for revenge against separatist systems to justify a lot of their earliest atrocities, and boy howdy did the core worlds want revenge on the Hunnovers Sector in particular.